the totally awesome fishing show. I think as fishermen you'll agree you cannot beat a nice bit of shore fishing with a lure. Travelling light, box of lures, away you go. Big powerful fish, got to be the way to go. But sooner or later, letting that lure go down deep, you are going to get snagged. And there's nothing worse, as we all know, than losing your favourite lure to the rocks, reef, kelp or wherever it is down in the seabed. So how about a rig that you can afford to lose just the lead, but keep the lure, and if you hook a fish, hopefully you keep the fish as well. Right, let's crack on. Which pair of binoculars, or both, should I wear for this one? Okay, lure we're going to be using is one of these rubber tailed ones. This one is a weedless sidewinder, okay, and it's not too heavy in the lead, so when your weight hits the seabed and you start to wind up quickly, this doesn't fall down and with a bare hook like this snag up. As you can see, it is weedless there. You just slide the rubber up so it touches the hook, and look, I don't nick my finger, but when a fish grabs, ouch ouch, the hook comes through. So that's a nice little size lure to use shore fishing, about 4 inches. That's what I'm going to be using. I'm not going to be using any booms, but what I am going to be using is a 3-way swivel. I'll show you all the rigs down here now what I'm going to be using. That way you'll get a good idea, but it is something, I've not seen this anywhere else. I've made this up totally myself. It's one I've used when I really don't, if I'm going to say Ireland or somewhere like that. You know you're going to lose lures over there, but you also know you're going to get some fabulous fishing. If you can dally that lure around all the snags down there, you generally get some massive, well, decent pollock for sure. For sure, you could get a double figure fish. So, what's the breakdown? It's this. So, basically, pretty simple. There's your lure, there's your trace line, there's the weak link that we're going to use, the breakout rig stuff, the lead, and 2 lead clips there with the little bait holders on them, and a 3-way swivel. Simple, easy, just takes a couple of 3 minutes to tie this together. I'll show you how it's done. Okay, here we go, people. Now, if you're lure fishing off the rocks, you'd probably be casting out 3 or 4 ounces, something like that, I guess, on average. Deep water rock fishing for something like pollock, coalfish, those sort of species. Now, when I go over to Ireland, which is one of the best places to go rock fishing in deep water, sooner or later, the seabed is going to leap up and grab your lure and lead, and you'll lose everything. But you have to fish fairly deep in the bottom quarter to a third to get the fish in the first place. I'm going to tie this on the end of, let's say, 20 pound. This is just a piece of amnesia, 25 pound this is. Probably would use about 18 pounds. I probably might not go to 25, but listen, a lure has to be worked in clear water. They don't work well in coloured water. It's visual. You're dealing with visual predators. So obviously clear water. And I tend to think if it's clear water, maybe they see, coloured water, coloured lines. Do they see thick lines? I don't know. We never know. If you're catching fish, it doesn't really matter, does it? Let's just pull this kiddie tight. Okay, so there's my lure, and I'm not going to snip this off too close. If you ever get snagged up and you wind it back and you get a little curl on the end of your line, I promise you there's only one person to blame, the person that tied the knot, because it's pulled through. That's why I leave that extra tag in there, or of course you could tie anybody got a beer there? You could tie a tuck plug there as well, so it doesn't come out. Distance wise, bear in mind you're fishing with, say, 9 foot, maybe 10 foot rod spinning. I don't know, 5-6 foot's long enough, I feel, for a trace. So there's my trace all ready. Now the next thing we're going to do is use these lead clips, which generally hang that way, right? But I'm going to reverse them because I've been using them like this. And I found they lock together like that, reversed, okay? Now, the other thing I'm going to be using is this 3-way swivel. You're thinking, well, how's that going to work, a 3-way swivel? Well, imagine one comes down, a line goes onto one side, my trace goes to the other, so that's my sort of straight line. But rather than have the lead, every time I'm casting out, jamming in here, or got to put a bead on, and it's wearing and wearing and wearing, by using a 3-way swivel, the lead can come off here, like that. So I know what you're saying. He's going to put a weak link in between the two. So when he snags on the seabed, it breaks free. Clever, old school, done it, got the t-shirt. In principle, yes, but if I'm going to use like £8 line, because I want this to snap when I get snagged in the bottom, I can't cast it very far, can I? Because the £8 line will snap and I'll lose the lead anyway. So I'm going to be using less line, like £8 or £10, less of my reel line, less of my trace line, but I'm going to be using those two links locked together. Now the first thing I'll do is, now with that, the one that's hanging down, I'm going to lock on, there we go, the swivel to the lead clip there. Now if you can see that, I'm hoping you guys can see all this, you can see that's totally upside down. That's really looking a bit weird, isn't it? Like that. But of course the other one's going to lock the other way. So what I'm going to do is let's get a piece of, I don't know what this is, just for argument's sake. I think it's £10, probably £8 would be fine. Onto the end of this, there, that eyelet, I tie on my piece of weak breakout link, we're going to call it. That's what we're going to call it, weak link. Okay, so I'm just going to tie a few turns in this just to show you. You can tie what you want, different knots there. Everything with me is a blood knot or an all bright knot. Okay, so it's like that. To the other end, I want it reversed. I want those two reversed so they can lock them together. So I'm tying to the other end about, say about 4 inches away to the eyelet where it's probably supposed to go. So let's tie this one on. You can tie these really fast once you get going. It's obviously doing a camera, it's a bit different. But we'll get there in the end, I'm sure. You'll see the principle once I pull this up tight. There we go, done. Snip the tag end off, again, not too short. Okay, so that is it. There's my three-way swivel, my link reversed, my other link tied on there and reversed against it. Now I can tie on my lure, doesn't matter which side I'm tying it on at the moment, this is just to show you. So we've already done the trace. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. You can tie what you want, you can do tuck bloods, you could use any knot you fancy. But you need everything neat, tidy, snug. Especially with fish like big pollock in the island, look, there's every chance you could get a £10 pollock, and that's some fish on a spinning rod, I can assure you. Doesn't work so much from a beach. You can get snagged up on the beach because you're bringing it in laterally lower. So you could bump it across rocks and get snagged up that way. This is primarily, I would say, for deep water rock fishing. So I'll just tie the other piece of line. I'm going to use some of this red shock leader stuff, purely just to show you. Hopefully it stands out on the camera. It's a little bit different. This little rig I made up myself, to be honest. Just thinking about things like you do. Too much time on my hands. Right, now if I clip the lead, that is a bit long actually, snip that down a bit. Somebody, one of those smart arses would be writing in saying, oh, it's too long, can't fish with that, mate, it's 4mm too long. Clip it on, okay. Now you can see it. There's my rod, the red line is going to my rod. The three-way swivel I'm hoping you can see there. You should be able to see the link there, the piece of weak link line here, and the reverse lead clip that way. They're both, well, this one's the reverse one in fact. There's my trace to my sidebinder lure there, okay. So what I do next is I put this clip into that clip. Then when it goes through the air, you cast out, it hits the sea, bang, it falls free. Should you get this bit snagged up, the lead snagged, this will break here. You'll be able to retrieve all your lure back, hopefully, and if you've got a fish on, you'll only lose the lead, you won't lose the fish. So there you go, you're probably thinking, oh, it looks a bit haphazard, it's going to fall off every time you bump it. Every time, oh yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. Every time I bump it, oh, it comes all the time, doesn't it? No, it comes off with a gentle bump on the bottom. So you can see, it's like a magician. If I go through the mirror, can you imagine what the wife would say if I smashed the mirror with this? Whiz, 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 look, I'm swinging it around in a 360-degree circle. It's still holding, but as soon as I do that, it breaks free. So there you go, guys, that's our breakout rig. Reel line here, three-way swivel, a reversed leg clip, which puts that tag end pointing up, £8 weak link line, lock the two reversed together, there you go, perfect, and your lure's all here, there's your lure all ready to go, weedless. And of course, a lot of you guys out there that go, let's say rough ground fishing for conger, probably thinking, actually those two clips put round that way are very handy for losing leads, or indeed any type of weight. If you're conger fishing over rough ground, you are going to lose gear, aren't you? Let's face it, guys, I do it, I know. So there you go, easy breakout rig, sweet and simple, like most fishing rigs. Enjoy your fishing. Don't forget to watch Totally Awesome Outdoor Show, free to watch, Mike's channel, and also his new magazine, The Awesome Angler, which is a free download. We'll see you again next time, and hopefully I'll have something on the end of this little chappie.